It is higher. Yeah? Well, let me just help you. Most rich people earn more income than I do or that you do, but it's not through their weekly salary. It's through capital gains. They have investments in the stock market. They have investments in properties and other things. And so they earn the majority of their income from capital gains. And capital gains are taxed at a less rate or a lower rate than our salaries are taxed. But how many knows if I'm making $20,000 a year and they're making $200,000 a year, they're going to pay more taxes than I do. There's no way around that. But the media has dressed that all up so it doesn't look bad. It looks bad on the other side. Also, please be aware of the fact that all people, no matter who it is, has a right to buy and sell property. You have a right to trade on the stock market if you want to. That's your right. And please, it's not just reserved for the rich. It's reserved for anybody who wants to do it. My problem is I don't have that kind of money to lose. Do you? When I'm just getting by from week to week. Most poor people, I are one, are not financially knowledgeable enough to know how to put the money into what portfolios and what categories to get a return on their investment that's higher than just, most people want a place of security. So they'll take their money, put it in the bank on a savings account, get 1% and be tickled to death. Well, the people who have money and are wealthy take their money, put it in the stock market, buy stocks, and get 20 or 30% return on their investment. And they're not happy with that. They want more. Just saying. On the other hand, I've heard some conservatives, particularly people of color, say that the Democrats are still attempting to keep their people on the plantation. Keep them on the plantation by entitlement programs and welfare programs. These merely help in the short term, but they don't do enough to break the generational cycles of poverty that many of them have grown up with. Other black leaders have noted that people of color have more poverty today as a result of those programs, that their marriages are broken, that their young men are in prison, and that the families are destroyed and out of attack, and finances before the Great Society programs that Lyndon Johnson signed into effect back in the 1960s, that they were better off before that took place. There's documentation, supporting documentation and statistics that will prove that when you give people something, handouts and welfare, it hurts more than people of color. It hurts everyone in society. Personally, can I be political just for a minute? I believe a halfway approach is best. That the government economic aid to the poor should continue, but that it should be redefined and restructured so there are less blind handouts, so to speak. I believe money should be funneled through partnerships with churches. That's a novel idea. Nonprofit organizations, charities, people who care about people without a separate agenda. It's not about lining their pockets. It's about helping people help people. People who have both feet on the ground that know how to micromanage the funds they have. See, some of the organizations out there, they know how to get the last ounce of blood out of every penny, because they're trying to make it go as far as it can go to help people. Things like job training. Don't give them a handout, give them a hand up. Don't teach them, and don't give them a fish, teach them how to fish. Educating children at risk. Teaching them how to run their own business. You know what, if we just taught them and help people, the majority of people on the planet want to stand on their own 2 feet and be self-sufficient. They just don't know how because they haven't been taught. And the entitlement program doesn't help them unless it's properly managed and distributed correctly. I'm going to get off of that because I could say a whole lot more things. With the current level of family fragmentation, nonprofits and church-based programs need to step up to the plate now more than ever, because big government entitlement programs with their no accountability practices have actually hurt this country and many people. They've proven that you can't parachute in and rescue a community or rescue a people. I don't have time to talk about all this, but there are several books that are out there that I could give you a list of. If anybody's interested, I'd be glad to do that. That talks about the toxic charities and how they've ruined a lot of the programs that we have. Okay, let me kind of wrap some things up. I said it wasn't going to make you shout. On the other hand, we need to understand that the 8th commandment God gave us was stating the rights of individuals to own property. I mean, knows that owning property was a God idea. I mean, it's biblical. You're supposed to have property. You're supposed to own property. It's supposed to be yours. This commandment is against the current ideology, particularly with liberalism and the theology of communism. There is an elitism mentality in our society today which is far outreaching. When government tries to force equality and the redistribution of wealth by progressive tax structures or even communism or socialism, it does away with your rights as an individual. On the other hand, conservatives in this nation are against redistribution of the wealth, believing that the policy that our forefathers came up with, that, the free enterprise system has been referred to, was the best system in the world. It made us the strongest nation in the world. Did you know right now that we are viewed by the nations of the world as a weak nation? They no longer fear the United States of America. We're considered weak. You know why we're considered weak? Because the people will not rise up and give voice to what's wrong. I personally believe in empowering individuals' rights, and I believe in the free market system. In my opinion, this is more in line with the Scripture than communism or elitism or socialism or any of the other isms you want to come up with. Here's what I really, really believe. Are you ready? I believe in a kingdom economy. Matthew 6:33 said, "Seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these other things would be added unto you." I happen to believe that that's exactly God's plan and God's way. The 10th commandment, you shall not covet your neighbor's goods, Exodus 20:17. Seems to also advance the theory that private property is a good thing and that you should have it. I'm going to wrap some things up so you guys get ready with the song, because I'm just about done except for the punchline. A debate about economic theory and what really works. If I were to start uncovering that, I'd give you a lot of opinions and the past experience, but that'd take another hour, and I don't intend to do that. If you're interested in talking about it, I can talk about it with you and give you details, facts, statistics, and help you see things. However, even if the liberals are correct in their position, even if they're correct, the commandment dealing with economics is number 8 on God's top 10 list. It's not as important as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But God tells us that we need to put his kingdom first. The November election is a test for all believers. I want to say that again. The November election is a test for every person of faith who calls himself a Christian. Will you vote according to the Bible? Or will you vote along party lines? Or will you vote according to the color of your skin? Are we voting biblical values? Are we voting the Ten Commandments, God's top 10 list? Are we going to vote along normal lines? I hope and pray that all believers will vote for the candidate or candidates that mostly reflect their ethics, their values, their character, and their integrity, and that they vote how they want to be remembered for the generations that are coming behind us. I believe the best voter's guide you'll ever look at is the Ten Commandments. One more quick issue. I had somebody the other day, how many know that I'm usually pretty vocal? If you ask me, I'll tell you. I had somebody the other day ask me, said, well, how do you feel about voting for someone that's a Mormon? I said, well, how do you feel about voting for someone that's a Muslim? Well, did you know that Mormons aren't Christians? I said, well, did you know that Muslims aren't? How many people have the Mormon killed? Did they fly the plane into the World Trade Center? And, excuse me, I want to back up for this one because I'm going to say this loud and clear. I pray for the President of our United States and will continue praying for him. But I will go on record and tell you I vehemently disagree with his analogy that the United States of America is no longer a Christian nation. I believe there are more of us than there are of them. But we have sequestered our voice and have not taken a stand, and we've been quiet along the way. See, we have believed the press report that Christians should just get along and go along. Well, this is one Christian that is tired of going along to get along. You say, well, it's not going to make any difference. Okay. If you don't vote, people say, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote, then it won't be my fault. No, you don't understand. If you don't vote, then it is your fault. Because no vote is accepting what takes place. Every person under the sound of my voice, whether it's streaming, whether it's on the CD, or sitting in this sanctuary this morning, every person needs to vote. Did I make that clear enough? You know why you need to vote? Well, I don't have time. Well, every person, did I say that, needs to vote. And you need to vote according to your values. Now, I know that when I'm talking this morning, it sounds like I'm supporting one affiliation over the other, and I have an opinion. Okay? And I'm not going to back down from my opinion, but I'm going to vote my values. You got to do the same thing. Okay? No vote is a vote for whatever takes place. And I believe that we have to address the enemy's voice. If you do not address the enemy's voice and it goes unaddressed, how many knows the voice grows? Did you know we're in the shape we're in right now because we've not addressed the enemy's voice? There are more people who are going, what is wrong with the media? You know what? The majority of people in the United States of America know right now that the media is very, very liberal. And they know that they're not giving all the news, but everybody's just fine with it. Why don't we start praying for God to raise up somebody with a voice who will tell the truth and stand in the arena of the media? Why don't we start praying for candidates that will run for political office that are Christians, that have Christian values, Christian ethics, and Christian beliefs, and pray for them to be put in office? You know why? Because nobody wants to take on the media. This should not be. Well, I hope you understood my message this morning. My message was this. You know, this is probably as quiet as this church has ever been. I was saying it's probably as quiet as this church has ever been. But I'm talking about a subject that's really, really serious. Jaden is going to stand at the back door after the service is over, and she has voters' guides put out by the AMA. And so just look at the records of the candidates. On the one side is how the candidates stand on major issues. On the back side is how the candidates for the governor's race here in Indiana and the United States Senate and Congress stand on the issues. Don't just go vote. You got to vote. If you got to know the issues before you vote. You got to know what's at stake. It's important that we understand the issues. Yes, no? Okay. Now, I've said all that. It's going to be real hard for them to sing a song behind me after what I said, yeah? But I believe that they can find one that will fit right where we are. Are you okay? Okay. Turn to your neighbor and ask him, are you okay? I know Pastor said some things that mess some people up, but are you okay? Come on, ask him. Okay. Go ahead.